Hi friends, it's Suzanne here from sunstampin.com. I'm a Canadian Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I want to welcome you to my weekly Wildcard Wednesday video on my blog and YouTube channel. The card designs I share today are a little more technique driven, but nothing too complicated. I also sell the products I feature in this video. I hope you enjoy my free video tutorial and would love to see you shop with me. For my card today, I'm featuring the Breathtaking Bouquet stamp set, and seriously the best stamp set for the sentiment. You do not see me stamping with my Versamark and embossing with my white embossing powder on my watercolor papers because I have lost that footage. I am sorry. So you can see here I have a hard board and I've taped down two pieces of watercolor. So one is just our fluid 100 paper and one is the Arches cold press. So I broke out my really expensive paper and that is on the left. And the Fluid 100 that Stampin' Up! Sells is on the right. And surprisingly, I actually really liked the Fluid 100 for this particular design. All right, so what you have seen me do here is I have taken some of my pigment sprinkles and I sprinkled them into, that's just like a dollar store paint palette. And I sprinkled some pigment sprinkles in. I think the first one I used was Granny Apple Green. And this next bit I'm using is Bermuda Bay. So let me explain to you what I'm doing. I switch between the left and the right, so you just have to forgive me. But once I heat embossed this stamp set, Breathtaking Bouquet, with white, I painted the outside of the flowers in the center with Granny Apple Green. And I just did a very light wash because I plan to go back into that paintings and color over with the leaves like I'm doing here right now. So my Granny Apple Green was like the base coat, if you will. And then now I'm going in with more Granny Apple Green and painting the leaves. And Bermuda Bay I did for the little round circles. It was just easier to compile this painting together. Like it was just easier to see. And I don't have paper towel actually, so I had to use a little bit of bathroom tissue. And so it's sucking up some of the liquid there that I had remaining on my paint. And now you can see what I'm actually doing, because I've tried to go in with this particular set or this particular stamp before and watercolor, and I couldn't see it. When it's white on white, it's even difficult. And I got good eyes. I don't need glasses or anything. And it was hard for me to see. So that's why, even if I was to do, say, a very light pink wash all over the whole thing, at least I can see the outlines of the flowers and the leaves. So this was my way of cheating, really. I have another color from the pigment sprinkles. I think this is Melon Mambo. And again, I am just putting down just that pigment sprinkle with water. And I do like the way that the embossed lines, stamped lines, are like creating little pools of water, because that's going to create dimension in and color variation in my flower petals, which I really liked the way that this card turned out in the end. So I obviously have sped up this painting because it took an evening and I was just sitting there watching Netflix and enjoying myself painting. And I ended up using quite a bit of purple. Sometimes I mix the colors together, like I mixed purple and green together to get sort of a brown shade for some of the more spiky leaves in there. And sometimes I would leave like the pigment sprinkles wet on the page, and then I would suck it up with the toilet paper. And what would happen was I was getting a variation of color, and sometimes I would say, like on the left there, that orange flower, I ended up putting just clean, clear water and sucking it up a little bit. So this is my Whisper White regular cardstock, and I am stamping red rubber, these wonderful Congrats red rubber stamps with Stays On. And I find I have a beautiful result when I use Stays On ink and red rubber. So I know that some of you don't like fussy cutting, and I don't mind it. I'm a hairdresser after all. It is my job, and I feel comfortable with scissors. And sometimes I will just, if I don't have a die to go with a word or a sentiment or even an image, I will cut it out by hand. I take my time. This is sped up 4 times, so you can imagine how slow I'm actually going. Like I said, I'm just enjoying myself. I'm watching Netflix or listening to it at this point, and I'm creating a white border around that Congrats. It's beautiful, scripty, perfect sentiment. It's nice and big. You don't need much more. So I have this, some vellum out, and I was originally going to put the sentiment just on the card itself, but I found that it got a little lost. So what I was able to do, I know I fussy cut this twice. You're probably rolling your eyes and going, good grief, lady, I would never do that. But you know what? It's actually worth it. This is the reason why I made 2 cards, not just to compare and contrast, but also because this is something really special. And this is probably going to one of my members of my team that has earned a title, or maybe, I'm not exactly sure yet, but these ones I'm keeping. I'm not going to sell them at the salon. So that's where most of my cards go, in case you want to know. There's a basket on my station, and my clients get to rifle through all of my cards that I make here on YouTube. Little known fact. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm cutting again the outside with vellum. So I just glued those sentiments to vellum, and I just felt like it gave the word just a little bit more heft, so that when I put it on the beautiful painted background, it did not get lost or look like it was strange. It was almost like it looked strange. I felt like it needed a transition. So the black lettering plus the white border plus the vellum, it looked fantastic. All right, so now I've cut those little sheets down, and I am putting a very fine black border around. And you'll notice how much that really helped. Putting a black mat on my focal art piece helped. It made the sentiment marry with the image. I think it was just the perfect added touch. So now I'm taking some dimensional adhesive, and I have applied it to the back of my vellum and fussy cut piece. And of course I am doing 2 different variations of this. So that is my card for today. Oh, I did put a wink of Stella on them as well. Anyway, that's my card for today. Thanks so much for joining me for all of this 10 minutes and lots of talking. And I will see you again soon. Bye for now. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. On screen are 2 more videos for inspiration. Click on the maple leaf for my blog, or click on me to subscribe to my channel. Thanks again for watching.